Hi, and welcome to take your wind and solar data workflows to a whole new level with NRG Cloud. I'm your host, Liz Wallace, Product Manager here at NRG Systems.
In this webinar, we'll touch on the following topics. First, we'll learn more about what NRG Cloud is, and then we'll jump into some of the more practical use cases for optimizing workflows. Here, we'll take a look at our fleet management and data management features, as well as site monitoring and remote configuration for your Symphony Pro or ZX LiDAR. We'll then cap it off with collaboration tools with our features like user management and campaign document storage. So before we jump into how NRG Cloud optimizes workflows and makes collaboration easier across teams, let's just talk about what NRG Cloud actually is. And NRG Cloud is a platform that is used to monitor the health and operability of NRG Systems products. It's designed to ensure data completeness and accuracy throughout your wind or solar campaigns. And it acts as a data governance tool for your fleet data at enterprise scale. The platform currently supports Symphony Pro data loggers and ZX LiDARs, with support for our new logger, Logger S, to be added in future releases. So the idea to create the NRG Cloud came from a notion that we wanted to come up with and provide our customers with a next-gen solution that was like an evolution of our Symphony Pro desktop application. We wanted it to have enhanced functionality, primarily and principally including, access to fleet data in any web-connected browser from any device. And so what this slide here, what it really shows you is how NRG Cloud makes accessing your Symphony Pro data logger or ZX LiDAR data, as easy as possible. So in this example, you either have a NRG tall tower that's all configured, or you have a ZX LiDAR, or maybe you have recently purchased one of our NRG Flare SRA systems, and it's deployed out in the field. The devices that are on that tower, on the SRA system and the ZX LiDAR, they can send data to NRG Cloud daily. And so when that data gets sent to us via email daily, we then take that and through harnessing the power of Microsoft Azure, we can store it in a cloud environment. We can render that data, and we can make it available either in a very easy to use web interface, or we can use a raw data, getting the raw data from an API service, in which this uses Python as a code base. So one of the questions that we get asked a lot about, of course, is, okay, I'm interested in the cloud, and so how do I navigate to it? And it's very intuitive. You just type in, in your browser, cloud.nrgsystems.com, and you'll get right to the cloud platform. You'll be able to put in some information, an email address and a password, and you'll instantly be granted access to the cloud. For the cloud, the way that it's set up right now, you can host up to 5 sites for free, and then it will go into a paid subscription. However, a lot of the features and benefits that I'll be speaking to, most specifically our document storage feature that'll be later on in the webinar, is for paid subscribers only. Really, we recommend a subscription to be able to gain the full benefits of the platform. So without further ado, I'm going to be switching over to the web browser, but in the meantime, feel free to enjoy a picture of our campus in the United States. This is our headquarters in Hinesburg, Vermont. I think this was taken in the fall time. If you've ever been to New England, it is a beautiful time of year to be there. All right, so I've just popped open my browser and I typed in cloud.nrgsystems.com and it brought me to this login page. As you see here, I've got my email and I've got my password already loaded because I've got an active account, and I'll just click the login screen. So in the last 18 months here, since NRG Cloud was launched, we've learned a lot about how to make the platform even more aligned with our user base. And while over the course of the rest of this webinar, I'll be going through the platform here and just talking a little bit more about some of the functionality that we've added in here and some of the popular use cases that we found that will help you, optimize your workflow and be able to work with other collaborators within your business so that you can give information to other key stakeholders throughout the business. So when I open NRG Cloud, I'm greeted here by the Fleet View page. And as you can see, I've got a couple of active sites here. I've got a couple demo sites, which do come standard with the platform. I've got one in Texas, I've got one in the Northeast, and then I've got another one out on the Atlantic coast. And this is the fleet management page. I can really get a high level view of which sites I may need to attend to right off the bat, which is a really exciting piece of the platform. I don't need to really do any digging to understand if there is something that is happening within the platform. I can just be able to open this up and know exactly what's going on. A few things to note here is really the orange pieces here in all of these sites. It means that there's active alerts. So from the last time that I had logged in, there are new alerts that are available. And you'll actually see this in two different places, one being up in the All Sites legend here. So you can filter by sites that have alerts, ones that are wind or ones that are solar. If they're in blue, it means that there hasn't been any change. And so there's no new alerts for me to attend to. It's all good, and I can move on to the next site. And if you can imagine, when you have on the upwards of tens or dozens of these, or perhaps hundreds of these, this feature actually, in magnitude becomes really, really valuable. So another one of the things that I want to point out is actually over here in this little sites dialog. So I've got a couple of different sites here. I've got one that's called Sunny Dog. This is actually a site that's right out behind our headquarters, and it is an active site. And it looks like from the last time I logged on, there isn't any new things that I need to attend to because that piece is blue. But I also have a solar site, a wind site, and a ZX site that have active alerts. So I'll want to click into one of these to be able to understand, what's going on. And I can do that either right from the fleet management page, or I can click into the site monitoring page, which I'll get to in a second. So as I'm clicking into some of my sites, let's zoom back out and try the wind demo site here. That's in Texas. There's a couple of things that are really important that we've learned from our customers that we do include in this site dialog. And the three things is, whatever active alerts that you have, you'll see in this tooltip here. They're all tooltips, so you'll know, when you've gotten access. But I can tell right away that, the battery voltage looks good at the site. So it means that, okay, everything's operating as it should. It doesn't seem to be a battery problem, so we can eliminate that. And it looks like that it's been connected to the server on a daily basis. It continues to be connected. This date is valid. I'm recording this on the 16th of January. So it looks like this is the right thing for me. So it might be that we have just some data exports that are now available that we can download. So what I'll do is I'll take a look at this over in data management. So going from fleet management to data management over here in our alerts and our data management piece, and I'll see if that truly is the case. And it looks like I've got a ton of data exports available. So it looks like that's true. Looks like there's some data that's available, and clearly in the alerts dialog, it's also true that there are alerts there's new data that's available for me to download and take a look at and be able to manipulate. So I can kind of back out of our data management piece. It looks like everything's looking as it should. We just have, some data that's now available for us, which is exciting, and we can go and create our reports for the rest of the business. And now I can go in and take a look at the rest of the site monitoring portion of my workflow. So I will click over to the ZX demo site, and I'm going to go right over into the sites page. Now, on this page, what I have is I have the ability to take a look at all of the sites that I have active in NRG Cloud. And all of these sites are in a tabular format that allows me to get some additional insights that maybe I wouldn't get from the fleet view. So we've kind of already gone through that first triage tier to be able to understand where we're at in our fleet workflow. We know there isn't any major issues, which is really exciting, and I was able to do that in the course of a few minutes. So now what I can find here is, again, I find things like the battery voltage, these look good. But another thing to point out is I can also see if, my logger firmware is up to date, and if the IPAC firmware is up to date. With these three sites, we've got Symphony Pro data loggers that have a firmware and IPAC firmware associated, and especially with SunnyDog, that is a site that's pushing data to our cloud right now. We can see that it has the latest firmware release and it's up to date. So we know that we're all set there. Here at NRG, we release firmware roughly monthly, or quarterly rather, and so I know if I need another update, I should expect that within the next quarter. If I've got new serial sensors or something new that's coming out, it'll always be in that firmware package. So everything looks pretty good. This looks like it should. And so what I'll do is I'll go over, I'll click right into one of these sites, and we'll take a further deep dive into what we can find out in that workflow. So we've got our site summary page loaded, and everything looks as it should. We've got my lat long here. I've got my data. It looks pretty good. Our data coverage, we do have that available in our solar and wind sites, so you'll be able to look at data coverage, and it's got this really nice tooltip as to how we calculate data coverage. So you'll have a general sense of how complete your data is, what your count is, and the expected count, and what the percentage is there, which is also just really, really exciting, especially if you're managing just a ton of sites and you need to know, what the completeness rate is. If you need to send out a text, or if you need to make some adjustments, you're able to do that right from the summary screen. But further down, what I can find is I've got all sorts of different plots that show my wind resource data from the LiDAR that's spitting this out into the cloud, and then additionally just some other MET sensors on the MET mast that the ZX LiDAR has. I'm able to take a look at those with the tooltips and really be able to zoom in on what exactly is going on with the site. And this is another exciting thing and feedback that we've gotten from our customers, is the fact that you can self-select and isolate different pieces within these visuals. You know, you can deselect, you can highlight, so that if you're looking for something at a specific range, you can just point that right out and those will be available. Additionally, another thing that is similar for all sites, and to refer back to the data governance idea, is that, you know, all of these sites, they look exactly the same. They're arranged in the same way, and so really it takes the cognitive load away from, you know, having to look at all these sites without the data being arranged, which can be quite difficult if you're going from site to site that have different loggers. These will all look the same across wind, solar, and LiDAR sites. So that's the site summary page. One of the last things I think I'll point out here is when it comes to collaborating with teams, let's say you've got some other stakeholders in the business that maybe are not necessarily analysts, but they do like to see the visuals. If you've got someone who perhaps is more on the business side and is really interested, or the tech side, or the site management side, you can take all of these visuals and they can be downloaded in popular file formats. We do have PNG, JPEG, and PDF. We also have vector images available, and you can also take a look at the data tables as well. So lots of options to be able to share with multiple stakeholders within your business without having to do a lot of the heavy lifting. You simply just come in, you click into the site, you download the visual, you can attach it to a report, and away you go. So the next piece I'll jump into, which also really helps with just more of the site monitoring, is we do have events, which will show just, again, a table view of what events are going on with your site. Again, it looks like there's been a couple of different things, new data exports available, so I have new data I can use, and then also just a channel configuration change, and I can explode that out. Sometimes there's information, sometimes there's not. In this case, there isn't, but I can see from what channel to what channel that has changed. Additionally, I can go into the timeline view, and that will just give me a really nice visual of what's available. In this instance, you'll see that it says loggers over here. We refer to Symphony Pro and ZX both as loggers. That's how we read it into the platform currently. There'll be updates in future versions, but it just lets me know that, okay, I know what the serial number is. I know, you know, what the logger is. In this case, it's a ZX LiDAR, what the model number is, and that it's been online since the beginning of time for this site. And I can see that I've got, you know, files available every day that it's been active. This is zoomed in for the last week, so it looks like I've got, you know, data available, and there hasn't been any events associated with it, which is good. It means that everything's been running as it should. So to jump back into a little bit more of the sort of the ease of use in your workflow, we've talked a little bit about site monitoring, we've talked about fleet management. One of the really important and I think exciting things about NRG Cloud is that it allows for site configuration, remote configuration for ZX LiDARs and Symphony Pro data loggers. And really all you need is you need an RLD file and the serial number to create a site. All you need here is, you know, simple, with the UI being so easy to use. It's very easy to complete. And you know, you can even put in your commissioning date here, and you'll have this thing configured right away. If you are interested in additional information on how to configure a ZX LiDAR or a Symphony Pro data logger, we do have materials, a quick start guide available on our website, or you can shoot us a message either at our tech services office, or I'll give my email address at the end of the webinar here, and you can feel free to reach out and we'll get that to you right away. So site configuration, really, really exciting, big deal. Doesn't have to require a tech to go out and get things configured. You can just go ahead and configure it right from the cloud, and away you go. So going further down into the breadcrumbs here, which is what we call this kind of little taskbar, I'm going to pop into really our key collaboration tools and how we can get everybody aligned in the organization that are taking a look at these sites. And the first thing is user management. So by site, we have the ability to manage all sorts of users in this site. And while this one doesn't look like it has any users associated, let me pop over to SunnyDog, which is an active site. Might take a minute to load here, and we have all sorts of my colleagues here at NRG actually looking at the site and are added to the site. Now we've got a couple of different types of users that are available, different roles, and those roles are actually spelled out in the tooltip here. Administrators, coordinators, and basic users, they have different rights. Pretty much the administrator can do anything, and a basic user is view only. So depending on who's viewing your sites, you can give them particular permissions so that they can take a look at what's going on within each site. And again, the thing that is really, really nice here, just to keep continuity with our alerting and our events and timelines, is you can subscribe each user up for email notifications simply just by ticking this box. And it'll send email notifications for critical site events. There's a nice little tooltip here as well as to what this means. It's very easy to add a user. To remove a user, it's simply a click of a button. Again, very easy, simple UI that just makes workflows, adding users, just really, really easy. We've heard in the past from customers that have hundreds of sites and lots of different folks working on them that this really helps them, everyone stay on track and moving in the right direction when something happens with the site, when there's some kind of change event. So lastly, I'd like to get into a new feature that we've just released in NRG Cloud. We just released it at the end of 2022, and that's our campaign document storage feature. I'm going to switch over to the ZX demo site here, where we'll be able to take a look at some of the documentation that goes right with the site. So this is for paid users. So if you have over the 5 sites and you want to buy a subscription, or if you have a few sites and you find having all of your documentation that is connected to a site right in one place, this is definitely the feature for you. Our users are finding this really, really powerful in storing commissioning and maintenance documents and any other associated project documents, calibration reports, etc., instructions, etc., in this domain. And just to kind of like explode this out a little bit, we'll give you a little preview of what the feature looks like. So standard, any site will have a commissioning and maintenance folder. So you'll have those already set up, but you can also add different folders, delete them, and all you need is to simply just right click. You can remove, you can rename, you can do all sorts of things right within the UI. One of the things that we did do is we have the ability to preview photos. So you don't have to download anything. You can view it right in the cloud, and you just right click, you click open, and you're able to just take a look at the site. So this is an example of a photo that maybe you would have if you were installing a site or commissioning a site, and you needed this for, some site materials for historical purposes. And again, in some of the documents here, we also have the ability to preview in popular file formats. We will be coming out with more support not only for PDFs and images, but also Microsoft Office documents as well. So again, just another way that we can keep everybody on board, moving in the right direction. You can keep reports right in here. We're building out functionality right now that when new reports are headed into the document storage feature, you'll get an alert that will tell you that there's new information available, depending on a site. If you've got a problem and you're looking for a remedy to that problem or any other pertinent information to your site, you'll be able to find it right here in document storage. So just to wrap up, I'll funnel back up to the fleet view. Really exciting for NRG Cloud, for those that are, site managers, analysts, installers, multiple parties that are trying to get united around a site or, a project, a set of sites. The cloud is really a powerful tool, everything from soup to nuts, to be able to get the insights you need, and I think by example showing how we're ensuring data completeness and accuracy with every site that you put on the cloud, so that you have a successful campaign. And with that, I'd like to thank you for attending this webinar. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. My email is at the bottom here. You can reach me at eaw@nrgsystems.com. We appreciate it, and have a great day, everyone.